The Pulse of Blue Blood. The Backstory of Calista. My Blood Runs Blue, Book 2. Written by Stacy Eaton. Narrated by Alex Black. That woman infuriated me to no end. Jesus! Why call and tell me about two people who were killed and then not accept my help? Stubborn, hard-headed woman, damn her. I stared at the phone I just slammed down and leaned back in my leather office chair, trying to calm down. I hadn't spoken to Calista in years, and now I'd heard her silky voice 3 times in one night. It brought back all the frustration and unrequited love that I'd had for her. The night I walked in on them, I'd been heading to tell Julian that I was finally going to do it. I was going to ask Calista to mate with me. I put it off long enough, and after spending a few hours talking to her the night before, I had realized that she really was the woman I wanted to stand beside me. She was beautiful, strong, and even compassionate, and she would have been perfect as my mate. The shock of seeing them in bed together was nothing compared to the explosive pain that traveled through me when I scented the mating bond in the room. I closed my eyes as I remembered the scene, could almost smell their scents mixed together, as if they were here in this room with me now. When I slammed the bedroom door and left the VMF house that night, I never looked back. Well, I tried not to look back, but from time to time I thought about how stupid I had been for waiting so long. Maybe the reason I didn't want to hear Calista or Julian explain what happened was because I ultimately knew it was my fault. Julian and I had an unspoken agreement to never mention it. For months we avoided each other at all costs, but when I became the master, it grew harder. Now we spoke of business only, and the tension between us was like a high-voltage wire, sparking and zapping, waiting for a moment to unleash its current upon something or someone. Around the office and from other vampires, I'd heard them talk about how wonderful Julian and Calista were together, and how beautiful their daughter was. I'd never seen her in person, but I had no doubt that if she looked anything like her mother, then she was amazing. I tapped a pen on the desk. I hated that Calista hadn't wanted the protection that I offered. It made the hair on the back of my neck tingle, but I wasn't going to force her to take it. If it wasn't so late at night, I would have made the trip myself. I sighed slowly. She was Julian's problem, not mine. As I got back to work, the sound of her voice kept taunting me. I hadn't realized how much I had missed hearing her voice all these years. I glanced at the clock on my wall. If I left right now, I could get there in about 3 hours. I scanned my office. Did I really want to see her? No. Shit, yes. I rubbed my temples. If something happened to her while Julian was out of town, and I did nothing to prevent it, it would destroy us both. In a quick burst, I piled all the papers I was going through and tossed them into my briefcase. I grabbed a small bag out of my closet that I kept there for emergencies and headed out of my office. I glanced at Rosemary as I stepped out. I have to head out of town for a day or 2. Okay, is everything all right? She asked, wide-eyed as I brushed past her desk. Yeah, I stated over my shoulder and then muttered to myself, everything is just fucking perfect.